Is my mic now working? That is strange. For some reason it said my mic was working, but clearly it's not. One second, y'all. I will get those scoreboards flipped next map. I apologize for that. Little bit of scuffed, but you know how it is. As we get into this next fight, it looks like they didn't. RIT wasn't able to get a ton out of that EMP. They do manage to find QG Hop, but they're immediately traded back with both of their supports and Farah, and this should be a win from Northeastern, and that's at 86%. We're not really looking. RIT is going to have to get a very staggered touch if they can even get one at all. Ball is incredibly low, so if he touches, he might end up just dying. Neither side really has a ton of impactful ults. They do manage to get the touch, but look at how low Blue Jay has to go when he's just taken out as Neats takes out Farah. And that should be an end map for going in Northeastern's favor. Just a few last stagger people on point. Mercy pops Valk, but is immediately cut down. And yes, that should be a pretty clean Northeastern sweep, as I will swap our logos and everything. Let's watch this play of the game from Simon. Just ooh, the nano ball. Well, if there's or not Simon, I apologize. Blue Jay. I didn't say nano ball could do a lot, but against the tracer, it will one shot you if you slam. So overall, a pretty decent showing from RIT, but Northeastern did show their dominance. We will be right back after a quick break as we go into our next map, which will be Kings Row. It looks like. So we will be right back. All right, and we are back after a little bit of fixing the stream. Please let me know in chat again if you can't hear the game or me. I believe I fixed the issue, but if not, first time streaming, I apologize. But we wanted to make sure we got all 3 of these grand finals streamed, so I opted to do it. Now, we are going to be starting on King's Row. I know everyone can groan in chat, oh my god, it's King's Row. It's always King's Row. Personally, I prefer Blizzard World, I know, but it was not our decision. It was RIT's, and RIT's decided to be a little boring. However, they are not coming out with a very standard comp, it looks like, as they're going to be opting for this Far Mercy. I wouldn't expect the Widow to stay around. Usually you play Widow on this map just to see if you can get a first pick out the window. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You never know. As Northeastern is going to opt for our standard defense on this point, we have the Tracer, the Genji, the Lucio, the Kiriko. It's pretty much a hard dive comp. We look for our quick engages, quick get out, reset, and then go right back in. I'm not entirely sure what RIT's comp... I would classify it as a dive with the poke element. Okay, Choco is deciding they're entirely comp swapped to a brawl. I guess they were just going to look out the window with all of those characters. So this is a very standard brawl, although usually you see a Mei on this point. So it's a little interesting that we're not actually going to be seeing Mei at all, instead opting for the Reaper. Reaper does have a lot of DPS potential, however, into a ball, he can't do as much as, for say, a Monkey. That being said, Northeastern, or RIT is immediately going to take point presence. However, they're kind of very quickly surrounded by all members of Northeastern on all sides, and they're not entirely sure where to look, as Northeastern will give over a tick, and will manage to actually catch out both Woe and Timid, and that's just going to be a point capture. Very cleanly done. I was not entirely... somehow QG Hop manages to kill the Reaper. You know, those kunai do a lot of damage if they hit you in the head, as unfortunately QG Hop is going to get pretty hard staggered here. Yeah, that Fire Strike was very nicely placed by Blue Jay. We're going to see the swap over from Timid onto the Zen. I like this a lot better than the Lucio. Lucio is good when you're into a dive or you have a poke element in your comp. However, to maneuver around. However, the Zen, especially when you're running to this very hard brawl comp, they want to be grouped up. They want to all in you. Zen discording the Kree or the Reaper or even the Bap or the Lucio, and sometimes the Rhine, depending on the situation, just can melt them so quickly that it becomes a lot easier to win the fight. As we are going to be seeing a little engage from Northeastern, although they somehow managed to catch out the Lucio. That's a lot of momentum gone from RIT. They're not going to be able to move that Rhine around nearly as effectively, as there goes the BAP. They're down all healers, and they're just going to have to back out, although Northeastern will probably take a couple of these staggers with them. Maybe can get the Kree? He's very low, however, he actually gets booped onto the high ground. Skleed does a little bit of a poor play there and knocks the very low Cassidy into safety. You know, we do a little bit of trolling over here at NEU Esports, as they're just going to try and choke them, get out some kind of ability, although RIT is coordinated enough to not need anything, as, oh no, the Kitsune Rush gets stopped immediately by the cart. That's one of the worst things you can see when you're a Kiriko. It's your worst nightmare. Although that being said, even with a bit of a messy fight from Northeastern, the Kitsune Rush not going all that well, none of them have died so far, and they have managed to get out beat from RIT, which is an enormous support ult. This window, though, especially in conjunction with the Reinhardt, could be very deadly, as I think they know that, and they're just going for a hard fight now. The Shatter actually doesn't manage to hit the blade, and that should be this fight over. Reaper, unfortunately, uses his ult, gets absolutely nothing. Shatter gets nothing as well. And now all RIT is left with is back window, which is a very good ult, but if Northeastern plays properly, split and not stacked on top of each other, it's very hard to get use out of this window. As for Northeastern side, they have the Pulse Bomb coming up, they have another Kitsune Rush, and they have these Mines. Mines are such a great disruptive tool into this Brawl comp. I mean, they want to play so close together, and Mines just says, okay, play close together. I'll kill you if you do. Or you'll take a ton of damage and die to all my DPS and my murderous Zen, who somehow gets caught out. I think Timid was a little bit too brazen there, but Northeastern is deciding they still want to take this fight. Lucio and Reinhardt both fall a little low. The mines make a lot of space, however, nothing really comes from them. The Pulse Bomb does catch out the BAP Immortality field, which means this Kree is a lot more vulnerable, and Reinhardt is nearly dead already. But Ball dies, so does Tracer, and unfortunately, the Zen dying there really does cost Northeastern. That's so much pressure you have, and even that little bit of healing there. I mean, we saw Sklee fighting against that Kree and that Lucio, and if he had a Zen Orb on him, it would have made it so much easier for him to live and probably kill both of them. That being said, the benefit of Northeastern's comp, it's very fast. They're able to get a full fight here pretty much without needing to comp swap at all or really stagger fight. That window, though, is going to be pretty devastating. And Northeastern C9s, oh no! I mean, overall, that fight was probably still going the way of RIT, but still, who knows? I mean, they did manage to catch out that Reinhardt in that fight, so anything could have happened, really. That being said, coming to this final stretch with 3 minutes, that's a lot of time. A lot of it gained from that first point, though, blisteringly fast by RIT. Northeastern, unfortunately, has never been known for their incredibly strong first points, I'd say. It's often our second and third points that we really do rely on when it comes to this map, which is understandable. That being said, though, a very good dive. That high ground is so hard to contest by the side of RIT on this crawl. I mean, we see Blue Jay just up to go for the jump off the map. Respectable play. But it's so hard for any of the members of RIT to contest the ball and the Kiriko and the Genji on those high grounds. And it allows them to get so much poke damage that it forces out a lamp window or a lamp shift or amp. Any of those key abilities that Northeastern are really looking for before they go for this hard engage. That's Northeastern's bread and butter, really. I mean, even right here, you see as they're coming in, they're just getting peppered from every angle. And the Kree actually dies. The lamp, unfortunately, the lamp is good. Kree decides to go the opposite way of the lamp placement, and it does just catch him out. And BAP might get caught up. No, okay, he manages to live. Northeastern's been burned a minute and a half off of their clock without really having to expend anything. I mean, they used mines there, but that's about it. And mines build pretty fast. RT's just going to opt for a very fast, quick jump to the point, but I think that kind of cost them out. They can't sit up. They're so quick to get onto the point that they can't do any damage to Northeastern on the way in, and Lucio just gets burned down and the rest of them with it. And Northeastern only expends Pulse Bomb for Mailed, which is a much worse trade if you're RIT. Still though, 4 ults, especially that Shatter, even if you can only manage to shatter the Zen, for example, it's such a good thing. However, Shatter and Window both expend it and get absolutely nothing. I think Blue Jay was trying to shatter Ball, but Simon is way too slippery for that to really work. Does manage to pin him, but I believe Simon should be fine. Looking to blade the Nooning Kree. I'm not sure that's what you want to do, Zach, especially as the beat comes in. Overall, though, once again, RIT expends almost all of their ults, and it looks like they might have this fight won. Yes, they do have this fight won, but for the recontest at 30 seconds, Northeastern is going to have mines, they're going to have pulse, and they're going to have trans. Although Zach desperately trying to get out here to not stagger himself. If I was Northeastern, I think, well, I guess I am Northeastern, but they're taking this very quickly. Chocomane walks into the Pulse Bomb on the ground. Woe misses it, but somehow just, I guess, didn't see it. I know that there's a bug right now, unfortunately, where the indicator for the Pulse Bomb is a little bit off, but overall, that fight probably didn't go how RIT really wanted it to. You were winning the fight pretty handedly, but you couldn't get those cleanup kills, especially on Zach and QG Hop, and that just cost them the fight, really. Overall, though, not a bad push from RIT. I mean, we've seen teams be able to full hold or second point hold this, and third point is no slouch either, obviously. It's probably one of the harder points in the game to capture. The only ones I can think are harder are maybe Junkertown or Havana, both of which are escort maps. So coming into this, RIT definitely has a pretty solid chance to hold this. Although Northeastern's attack on this point is pretty phenomenal in most cases. I would expect these teams to play the same comps, RIT to be on the brawl, Northeastern to be on the dive, but who knows? Maybe RIT has a super secret strat that they're not showing us, as they are showing a D.Va actually, as RIT opts for a full dive instead. I'm not sure about the D.Va, especially now in the current meta of Overwatch. In Overwatch 1, yes, she was the second dive tank behind Monkey usually, but in Overwatch 2, she's much more functional as a poke tank, kind of protecting a Kree or a Sojourn when they're on flanks and off angles, while also still putting on enough pressure. Usually you see the Monkey or the Ball for dive, or even a Doomfist. It's a little unorthodox from what I've seen, but hey, who knows? Maybe RIT has the secret strats. Needs is going to be on the Widow. Let's see, does he hit a shot? There's no one peeking him, so he doesn't even have the chance, as he will keep a technically perfect accuracy because he didn't fire. That being said, Northeastern's just going to surround. Tracer falls very low, and actually dies to a kunai from QG Hop. Oh, poor Tracers. Every Tracer in the world fears those knives. As I say that, though, a very nice hack from Choco Main. QG Hop was trying to TP or Suzu themselves, and the hack just cancels it immediately. Northeastern will take point control, though, and they managed to get a tick, probably 2 if I had to guess, although RIT might not be willing to give them that here. It does look like RIT actually, BlueJay wants to fight in the choke instead of on the point, giving Northeastern almost full point and forcing the entire team to rush on a point in a last-ditch effort to hold it. But that's just not going to work. I think if BlueJay had been the one to touch while the rest of the team was trying to contest in lane, that would have been a little bit easier. The other problem I think BlueJay is going to run into is D.Va's defense matrix is 1.5 directions. It's large, but it's only blocking you from one direction, and Northeastern's dive shoots you from 3 or 4 directions. You're not going to really have a lot of opportunity to DM a lot of that damage on either yourself or your squishy targets. So we do see another blistering. I guess neither of these teams are exceptional on their first point holds. As we see Simon trying to do a little stagger play. I think he messed it up. I'm pretty sure it's between these 2 rooms you can bounce between. I'm not a ball player, though. Charlie almost gets a little caught out, but obviously Kiriko is Kiriko with near infinite mobility and flexibility. Kyle on a little bit of a flank. And overall, this first fight, ooh, Simon might be in a little bit of trouble. Does manage to get out. I thought that hack might have been the death of him. Having no mobility on ball and a D.Va Bomb staring you in the face is not what you want to be seeing. Overall, though, D.Va Bomb expended for Kiriko ult, which is a trade RIT is probably very happy with. That Kiriko ult did not get a lot of value. It might have actually gotten blocked by the payload. I wasn't entirely paying attention, as we're going to see a bit of 1v1s everywhere. I mean, unfortunately, Kiriko is a very strong duelist. She is not the greatest into 2 or 3v1s, and Kiriko dying here is probably going to cost them, and if I was RIT, I'd probably just try and die straight on point here, although no matter what, Northeastern is pushing this in, and you're not getting a recontest. Blisteringly fast second point as well. 5 minutes and 15 seconds to get pretty much 2/3 of the way to the end point. I know it's a little bit farther, but this final stretch is such a slog to get through, as almost all hybrids are. RIT is going to opt to just dry blade. Unfortunately, Northeastern is on a dive comp. Well, I say you really should be able to get that much value, but I guess Diesel is just too good of a gamer and managed to get both supports. That's going to be a fight win easily for RIT. And this is where you kind of see this point's strengths show up. RIT has those ult advantages. They have 3. They're coming up on 1 more. And yes, Northeastern has 2 coming up close-ish to the other 3. But I mean, even with Easel down, it's not a game ender. Although losing both of your supports somewhat to a blade, not as clean as Easel's, but very good job there, Neats. And this is probably gonna have to be a stagger touch from RIT. They might be able to get, well, Northeastern only putting 1 person on the cart will probably allow them to get, yes, they'll be able to get a full contest. And they have a lot of ult to use. The problem is, oh, that's awful. Chocomane's EMP hits no one, actually. That's forcing them to use every other ult they have in their kit, and even if they win this fight, Northeastern's pretty happy with that. Although it's no guarantee. Okay, 2 down for Northeastern. They should probably just go out, try and, yeah, Simon will probably die here. I thought he was gonna slam off, but I guess he thinks he can get out. He was incorrect. Overall, though, a fight Northeastern is probably pretty happy with. They drained 3 massive ults from RIT and have Mines and Kitsune Rush, which are going to make keeping this point incredibly hard for RIT. All they have is both bombs, Pulse and Diva Bomb. 9-1 is, there's not a lot of people you can hit it on. That being said, Kyle actually dies very quickly. Zach body blocks the Diva Bomb, I guess. They get Bomb out. Choco's actually incredibly close to another EMP here. Northeastern has to win this fight fast, but they're not going to, and that's probably going to mean that this next fight, RIT is going to have EMP, and they're going to be close, maybe mid-fight to gate. That's happened, I believe, twice now, where just a member of Northeastern, before the fight even started, got caught out. And Dive is very much a 5-player strategy. You want all 5 collapsing on top of one target to burst them. There's not a lot of targets you can do in Stats team, as an early MP, he immediately catches out, needs beat a little bit too late, but the Kiriko going down is going to cost RIT a lot, and that Pulse Bomb is massive, gets the other Tracer and the Diva. That might be it for RIT. A last-ditch effort beat by actual Liam has that Kiriko rush, but will it be enough? The Sombra will be able to get a touch here, barely, but probably is going to die incredibly quickly. Tracer will get a touch too. You have to kill. Kiriko and Sombra are so low. Sombra's so close to dead. Tracer dies too. There goes Sombra, and it's just the Diva and the Lucio on point. No ults, and really no hope for RIT, as Northeastern does manage to pick up this second map from RIT, although a very close series from RIT. Yes, this is map 2. Map 3 is Escort, so let's watch, before we discuss that, let's watch this very quick play. I'm not even sure where the Lucio was that he got slammed. He must have probably a Genji dash plus some Tracer bullets just melted him. That's very unfortunate for RIT. Overall, though, a pretty solid showing from RIT. I think they're just expending a lot of ults when I'm not sure that they need to. They're not getting a ton of value from all of their ults, and it's forcing them to expend way more than they need, which means these next upcoming fights, they're essentially relying on one of their players just getting a very lucky early pick, which happened, yes, but that can't happen forever, and eventually NEU just found the opening they needed. And even in that fight, they did go down a player, but unfortunately, they traded out the Kiriko, and Kiriko is a lot better of a trade than a Genji. No offense to you, Neats. So yes, our next map will be Escort, as we wait for RIT to decide. For those of you who do not know the map pool for this tournament, it is all maps, so any of the Escorts are available. Based on RIT really seems to like Brawl. That seems to be kind of the comp that they're most comfortable on based on what I've seen. And based on that, I mean, their dive certainly was solid. I think their Brawl is, okay, they're opting for Junkertown, actually. That's almost the opposite of what I would have expected out of RIT. Maybe they're just, Junkertown is I mean, almost all Escort maps are poke maps. That's just kind of how they end up working out. But Junkertown, you can run Brawl on some of the Escort maps. I'm thinking, not Havana. I'm forgetting the name of the other one. Listen, map names are hard. The one, Rialto, that's the map. Rialto, you can run Brawl pretty standard on it. And Havana, first and second point, you can sometimes run Brawl. Junkertown, you can kind of run Brawl on second and third, but really it's just completely poke or dive dominated in some cases. So overall, I guess RIT is just hoping that their DPS are able to beat out Northeastern's. That's kind of what this map is probably going to come down to. That's just how escorts usually roll, especially a map like Junkertown. First Point has such long sight lines. It's a sniper haven, essentially, and if one team has the better snipers, 99% of the time that team will end up winning, even if the Sigmas and the Kirikos and the... or usually it's Bap and Zen, but... yes, so that is going to be... No, I forgot to update score after last map. You know, we're learning. Alright, there we go. Alright, and so we are going to be going into Junkertown pretty soon. As I said, expect poke from both comps. Maybe Northeastern will opt for a dive comp, although we're perfectly comfortable on the poke comps. RIT, they've shown us a variety of comps. Even when they've shown us a brawl comp and then 2 different dive comps. And a dive with a poke element. Maybe, I doubt they opt for the Pharah here. Pharah is not great on Junkertown. There's just too many open sight lines, although if you're good enough at Pharah, you can pretty much make her work anywhere. I'd presume Widow Hanzo, though, of some kind, maybe Widow Sojourn, although Hanzo's Sonic Arrow gives you so much flexibility in your... what is the word? With your snipers, because having basically perfect info on where the enemies you're looking for are is pivotal when it comes to winning a Widow 1v1 or winning a Hanzo 1v1 or a Widow v Hanzo 1v1 or anything like that. And that probably is what this map comes down to, as Northeastern will opt to stick on the defense. Pretty standard. Most teams do not opt for the attack. It's just, why would you opt for the attack? Then you're forcing it to go to third point. The map takes longer. When you could full hold, it's easier. As we will see what these teams are opting for. Yes, as I thought, Northeastern is opting for pretty standard poke comp. Zach on the Widow, Kyle on the Hanzo is actually... Yes, I know, obviously, Kyle is a hit scan and Zach is our projectile slash flex, but both of them are very comfortable on both of these characters. They play them a lot. Zach's Widow is very solid, so this is not going to be some weird Northeastern memeing. We sometimes do that, but RIT is a very solid opponent, and I don't think we're willing to pull that out in this map. On the side of RIT, the Orisa is... Okay, they swapped to the D.Va. That makes a bit more sense. The Briggs then is a very greedy backline. Essentially what you're hoping for with it is you're hoping that you can kind of pocket a DPS. That being said, there's not really a DPS to pocket as... Okay, well, they come out, they started on the poke, and they just... I guess maybe they were looking for a very quick Widow pick, and now they're swapping to full dive. It'll be interesting to see if they're managed to make this work, as actually, he still managed to catch out Kyle, but it's a traded back on the Sombra. Simon goes down too, though. I'm not sure how he was so low. There's no snipers on the side of RIT, so maybe QG just wasn't able to get healing on him in time. That being said, I wasn't sure about this dive comp, especially coming into this first point. This first point is so heavy sniper dependent. But clearly it's working, as Zach gets caught out as well, and honestly, I'm not sure if it's even worth it for Northeastern to try and recontest this, as they're not even going to be able to touch the point. Simon gets left, and that is a very quick first point take from RIT on this dive comp. It probably caught Northeastern by surprise. It's not what you'd expect as a standard comp on this map. That being said, though, second point, yes, Needs has swapped over to the Sombra. They're keeping on... This is a bit of a hybrid comp. They're keeping on the poke backline and tank while having dive DPS. It's not the most efficient thing, obviously, but you can definitely still make it work. Very early Blade from Isol. I did not expect him to build it that fast. Managed to get one, gets traded out, but that's bow supports down for Northeastern, and there goes the tank, and once again, a very clean fight win from RIT, and I guess this is what they needed. They needed a map where Northeastern wasn't running this brawl comp, or a ball comp, because that's not simply what we run on these points. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up swapping to that, but at this point, it's looking like this might go to third point with nearly 6 minutes on the clock. I mean, they are backing out right now. They used Pulse Bomb, Easel's hacked, so it looks like Northeastern is going to take some space. However, Kyle going down there is very bad. I mean, Northeastern kind of has to take something quick, or with the ults on RIT's side, they're just going to take this fight easily. Both teams are going to have that EMP. They opt to Nano Ball. I'm not sure he's really going to be able to get a lot from it. He's not, but he does force the trans. Both teams end up using the trans, which is pretty important either way. Now what it comes down to is which EMP is really going to be better. Both teams have them, although I'm not sure RIT will opt to use it, nor will Northeastern need to use it, because Zen and Ball going down is pretty much a fight ender. Sombra's hiding. Northeastern should know this. They know they have a Sombra, and they know to kill her, so they should know that she's probably going to try and backcap this. That's just what a Sombra does. They all get off point, actually. Although, yes, Charlie, I'm pretty sure, knows. Charlie got close enough to the Sombra to be able to spot her, as she's just desperately hiding. The one thing, Kiriko has a lot of abilities. She does not have a lot of spray potential. She has one kunai, and it's one directional. Although, actually, Choka manages to get caught out and has to TP away, forcing RIT to set up again. And that 4-minute time bank is suddenly down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But that's kind of the unfortunate thing about these dive comps, is that they're taking it slowly, which is not... You kind of don't want to take it slowly into a dive comp. You want to take these fights wicked fast. You want to get your setup and immediately go on a target. Probably the Zen. There's no break to protect him. Yes, there is Suzu from QG, but that's about it. You want to blisteringly fast destroy Timid and then get out, and then they're down their Zen, and then you can go on the next target, and the next, and the next. That's how you want to play this comp into a poke, and they're kind of just giving Northeastern too much time to poke them out, to get spam damage, to get ults, and to find a kill. Like, getting Choco out there was bad because it forces them to reset up, and that's exactly what Northeastern wants to do. Getting here, Blue Jay is going to fall, just die outright. And yes, Timid might end up dying here just because they do hack him, but that's not a trade that RIT really wants. Yes, the ball will obviously get back faster, but while the ball is dead, Isol might die, or the Zen might die, or the Ana might die. And that's just, and those staggers just might keep happening, and even with the ball getting back faster, this is exactly what you want to do. Okay, that was very nice. Immediate setup, very quick, although, as I say that, Northeastern tries to trade it back. If that, Signaled had have finished, that probably would have been a fight ender right then and there. I mean, both Zen and Ana were incredibly low in it from the EMP. Overall, though, a nice focus on that Sigma, and they are going to manage to capture this third point. However, not with nearly as much time as you would like. Third point is a slog to get through. I mean, it's so long, so much high ground, so many potential, as Northeastern full comp swaps onto the dive. The only thing they still have from the poke is the Zen, which means Zen's probably gonna get hard focused by a lot of their team. As, oh, Timid is 90% to the trans for that Nano Blade, although honestly, transing Nano Blade isn't always the best thing. If the Genji's good enough, he will just one-shot most people through it anyway. That being said, clean fight from RIT, although Northeastern is smart enough to not... Oh no, QG Hop actually used the gate in that. That's not a good trade coming to this final stretch. Minute 43 on the clock, 2 ults, almost 3 for RIT. Timid dead in the backline again. As I said, the problem with the Zen is, especially when you're not running a Sigma or something to protect him, he's gonna get caught out a lot. I mean, case in point, there's Liam also getting caught out by the side of Northeastern. Neither Zen really has someone who can protect them. I guess RIT has the Ana, which is a bit worse protection than the Kiriko, which should mean that Northeastern should recognize this and kind of be focusing that Zen and Ana, because they're not a very protected backline. Coming into this 60 seconds, and usually that means 2 fights, but with how RIT has been playing this, that might even be 1, although it looks like they're trying to take this fight fast because they know if they lose this, they want to get that last fight. They don't want to have to rush expend all of their ults as Timid gets slept nearly taken out by the other Zen. Charlie is there with the trans. Does manage to catch out 3 members of Northeastern. That's brutal. However, the payload is too far back. Northeastern is still going to be able to get a touch here. Kyle getting traded out late is bad, but using both EMP and mines in that tight choke, yes, it guarantees you that you're going to get farther, but now you're down both of those key ults as the enemy has trans, they have EMP, they're almost at both Kitsune Rush and mines as Timid falls very low. I think he almost got 5 orb. I didn't mention this initially, but the swap over to the swap over to the Monkey is actually a nice move from Simon. The problem with Ball into this comp is Ball's probably just going to get hard focused by their entire team. He's going to get hacked, he's going to get slept, he's going to get discorded, and just murdered. Monkey has that bubble to protect himself, and those jump outs are, oh, Choco nearly gets a touch. It wouldn't have really mattered, but still. A very close, touch nonetheless. But that Monkey has more self-protection against the Sombra, because the second you see that hack start to go off, you can bubble yourself, and 9 times out of 10, the Sombra's not sitting close enough to you, because otherwise she'd be getting hit by your Tesla cannon. Also, that's the other thing, is Sombra can't hack you as easily because you just 360 Tesla cannon, and all of a sudden 1 tick hits her, and she's no longer hacking you. So a very smart swap from Slee there, and it just allows you to murder the support so quickly. Ana Zen is a strong backline. I mean, I believe it was probably the most, I think it was the most prevalent support backline in the Pro-Am, although that might have been Kiriko Ana or Kiriko Lucio. But either way, it's a strong backline, but its weakness is if you can burst it quickly before they can burst you, it's just going to collapse on itself, especially without a DPS supporting it. That being said, both teams are opting for the exact same comp. We're seeing the double sniper from Northeastern. I'm betting this is probably just to get info/vision and maybe a quick pick out of the gate, and then they'll probably swap back to the standard comp. That being said, who knows? Maybe they will opt to stick on this double sniper. It's sometimes a little easier to run on attack than defense, I've learned. The problem with defense is there's set points that you can kind of play in a lot of cases, and it's easy for the Sombra to flank you. It's not as easy for her to flank into your entire team, if that makes any sort of sense. Probably not. They are opting to stick on the Widow at the very least, as Choco's looking. They're looking for this Zen, actually. I thought they were going to go on the Needs, but Ball almost dies and actually does die. Ooh, Blue Jay was not expecting that insane amount of damage. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe Needs might have gotten a headshot him. That would be my best guess. Is basically his entire health bar just vanished. And overall, that's going to make you kind of want to hold this open space. Is pretty good for dive, but it's also very good for that Widowmaker. I mean, if Widow gets set up, she can kind of just take pot shots at the Ana and the Zen, and even if she can't kill them, she's forcing them to play in poor positions because they don't want to give her sight lines, and that means that they can't heal her team as much, as she nearly takes the head off that Ana. Ooh, so close there. Ball falls incredibly low again and just gets taken out. I think it is Zach on this Widow, just every time Ball goes in, taking shot after shot and just murdering him, bringing down his health bar incredibly low. And, I mean, that's what Widow plus the Discord Orb really does to you, as Northeastern is also going to Bliss cap this second point with over 4 minutes of time. Actually, over 5 minutes. Blue Jay will swap to the D.Va. I think that's the right move. Obviously, the Ball was just getting bursted so quickly, and into this Widow that you're, well, Zach swapped off the Widow. You probably saw first and second point, so Widow is not nearly as good here. Oh, Ana gets pulsed, unfortunately. I think that might have been aimed for the Zen, but Kyle will happily take the Ana there. And that's just going to be a very clean win from Northeastern. Really, all they had to use there was Pulse Bomb, and already Kyle's back to 40% of that. It's such a fast building ult with the impact it can have. And this is the other weakness of this on a Zen comp. You are lacking an Immortality field, or a Suzu, or some kind of protective ability for yourself when you get bladed, or when you get EMP'd, or when you get pulsed. And without those, all Kyle really has to do is land one stick on either of them, and they're just dead. There's nothing they can do about it. And especially Zen, oh, Isol gets caught out by a headshot from QG, and there's the power of a, Kiriko shown right there, as RIT's kind of just crumbling on this point. They haven't gotten an actual fight the entirety of second, and really first after that first point. That last fight was kind of staggered too. And Northeastern is moving into the third point with 5 minutes in the bank to make it pretty much all the way there. That is a lot of time on this third point, but it's not undoable for RIT. I have seen holds for quite a bit longer of time. I'm thinking the old days of, oh goodness, a 2CP where you would have 7 minutes going to the next point, and it would be awful to try and cap it. They're going to opt for this Nano Blade. They do use the Transcendence for it, and the Isol actually doesn't manage to get anything from it. That's really bad. Using Nano Blade in that fight and getting nothing from it, and getting Diva demeched, that's terrible when you need to win that fight. You need to stabilize without using too many ults or abilities, because otherwise Northeastern getting around this corner makes it their one-fight territory from just cinching this Grand Finals title. Overall, though, they still have EMP and Bomb. EMP Bomb is a very strong combo. The problem is, who do you target with it? There's no one on the team besides the Zen who you can really target with it, because the rest just are so mobile and so spread out. And solo EMP bombing a Zen, especially when your entire backline gets decimated by an EMP, and I think that's just going to be this map. I mean, Blue Jay can make a valiant last effort, but the problem is Northeastern is just coming in with just so many ults, so many people, and the trans will not make it in time, and that is going to be our series. Northeastern is your first ever NUHCI Overwatch champions. Overall, a very strong showing from both teams. I think Northeastern edged them out, I think, not necessarily in team play. They did have better, decent team play, but just in ult usage. RIT just committed a lot of ults, and a little too slowly of ults too, especially when they were on dive into poke. They weren't able to really do the damage they needed to do as quickly as they needed to do it. That being said, overall, a very nice showing from both teams. Thank you so much to RIT and all of our teams. Let me very quickly pull up the teams. For competing in this tournament, we had RIT, BU Red and BU White, WPI, Northeastern Gold, one of our club teams, and oh my goodness, I am forgetting the last one. I am so sorry. Both of Emerson's teams. Thank you so much for competing. It was an honor to have all of you, and I hope we get to see you again. And lastly, thank you so much to Xfinity and Army RTC for sponsoring this stream. I have been Hedwig, and hopefully we'll see you in about 2 hours for our CSGO stream, and then 3 hours after that for our Hearthstone Grand Finals. Thank you so much, and have a good